Hey everyone, I'm Jasmine, and this is my twin, Tiffany. Hey, so some of you guys may, some of us,
Some of you may remember us from our
maybe from our days when we had our YouTube channel for entertainment news. We had quite a few subscribers on there, and that was about like 9 years ago. We didn't have a big following, but we had enough people that we were kind of like, hey, there's people looking and paying attention to what we're saying and doing. So basically, we stopped recording because life was lifing. And then I just had a thought like one day, and we were talking, we were saying, like, hey, why don't we start, doing another, YouTube channel and start talking about things again? Because we
because
wanted to talk about things that like not everybody's talking about.
yeah, because we noticed that a lot of like the pop culture moments, like like in movies and TV and music, weren't being covered. So we were like, well, why don't we talk about it? If we want to talk about it, nobody else is talking about it, let's talk about it. So that's why I was like, so that's why we decided to revamp this channel, I guess you could say.
And with a revamp came a rebrand, so to speak, because we changed the name from Entertainment News to The Girls Are Talking. And the reason behind that is because actually it's because of our mom. Because our mom, like whenever she is on the phone or anything, talking to my uncles or my aunt, like she always like if she would hear us saying something, she would be like, "The girls are talking." Like that's what she would say. And so like it just came into my head randomly while I was sitting at my desk at work, and I was just like, the girls are talking. And so I told Tiffany, I said, I came up with a name for what we can call our YouTube channel. We can call it The Girls Are Talking. And it wouldn't leave my brain. Like, you know how you just have something in your head and it just doesn't go away. And so it kept telling me, like, this is what you need to call it. Like, call your YouTube channel The Girls Are Talking. Because it's like, I could not for the life of me think of anything. And that's what it is. And that's what feels right to me. So
And
that's what
we
we are now.
and we were kind of floating around the idea of like really if we were really seriously going to restart this channel. And then when she came up with the name, like the new name for us, I was like, okay, I guess we have to do this then.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk to you about movies, TV shows, music, all the good things, like things we like to talk about,
Food,
things that we like to, yeah, things that we like to talk about that nobody else talks about. So we
places,
decided we wanted
coffee
to talk about
shops.
this. So we decided that we wanted to talk about those things. So for our first thing that we're going to talk about, since that's what we're here to do, to talk about movies and all that, we're going to talk about Twinless.
Twinless.
That is the first. Well, it's not the first movie we've seen this year, but we've seen a couple. We
Yeah.
saw Sinners. Sinners was great, guys.
Fantastic.
Anyway, we went to see Twinless on Sunday when it came out. We saw it at the Limley Theater in Claremont, but that movie it stars Dylan O'Brien, Ashton Franciosi, James
Who
Sweeney,
wrote and
and
directed it?
Lauren Graham. It's a movie about a twin named Roman who is like basically he loses his twin brother Rocky at the beginning of the movie, and when you watch the movie, basically it's him. He meets another guy named Dennis at a twin support group for twins grieving the loss of their twins. So it's kind of like it's a drama, but it's also got like a mystery type of thriller vibe to it.
It's like a dramedy.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things, but it's a drama. But it has, like I said, it has like a thriller vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to preface this by saying that if you haven't seen the movie yet, this review is going to be a little bit on the spoilery side. There's going to be a few spoilers in there. So listen at your own caution.
Yeah, we were gonna try to keep it spoiler free,
But
but
there's no way.
yeah, I know it's kind of tricky. But anyway, so in the story, Dylan O'Brien does such an amazing job playing twins. Usually we get kind of slightly annoyed by the fact that singletons play twins because we're like, there's a lot of twins in Hollywood. Why don't you get twins to play twins? But we love Dylan O'Brien. He's amazing. He's an amazing
Yeah.
actor. We've seen like most of the things that he's done.
Mhm.
We loved him in Teen Wolf as Stiles Stilinski. Like he was amazing in that. And yeah, we love him. He is such a talented actor. Like
Mhm.
it's ridiculous how talented he is. And then James Sweeney, the story that he wrote is amazing. And I mean, he did such a good job capturing the relationship between twins. And it's interesting because when the movie starts off, you're watching it and it starts off with Roman being, going through the grieving process. His
Mhm.
brother dies and they're at the funeral. And in my head, I'm kind of thinking like, because I already understand, like, obviously I don't understand the loss of a twin because I haven't lost my twin. Thank God. I'm not twinless. Thank God.
Knock
But,
on wood.
but I understand like what that grief would feel like, so to speak, without having to feel it. And so when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking, okay, we didn't get to know Rocky, his brother. So I was kind of like, will I like can I connect more to this loss? Because I was already connected to it because it was the loss of a twin, but also at the same time, I was like, I don't know Rocky yet, so I'm like, it felt interesting to grieve somebody who wasn't on the
Hmm.
screen. But then it flips, and you get to see Rocky, Roman's twin. So it's Dylan Bryan in dual role. So I was really excited to see that, to be able to see him play himself, or his twin brother. So by watching that, you get to see the relationship, and you get to see you get to see the softer side of Roman when you see Rocky, because Roman is kind of, he's got a hard shell.
Hmm.
He's very easily angered. So I felt like we got to see like the opposite side of the coin. We got to see Rocky. But when you're watching it, it's interesting because you this is a spoiler, sorry guys. You actually find out that Dennis was involved with Rocky, Roman's brother. So, and because when you find out that Rocky was a gay man, and he was involved with Dennis. So as you're watching the movie, and as it goes along, Dennis and Roman become friends because they bond in this twin group. And it's like, he tells him he has a twin brother named Dean that died from a car accident. He's like telling him, that he lost him in such a painful way. And as you're watching everything go on, you're seeing them build this friendship, but the friendship is based on a lie, because Dennis is not really, he's not really a twin. You find out that he's not really a twin, that he's just kind of made this story up because he wants to get close to Roman. And it kind of feels like, as you're watching it, like almost like he is trying to replace Rocky in a sense by using Roman. Like, I don't know if that's how you felt, but that's kind of how I felt. Like, it was kind of like he wanted to find that feeling again.
Dennis. That Dennis was
Dennis,
doing that.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that because, like, like watching the movie from the beginning and seeing like the opening sequence with like realizing that Roman's brother's already dead at the start of the movie.
Hmm.
Like that was interesting. Like it was interesting that they started off like that without us even like seeing like the two of them in a their brother relationship beforehand. But like what was crazy about it was just the fact that it starts off like that, but then it's not like you're really in the movie until after you realize that Dennis is not a twin, and
Hmm.
that he knew Roman's brother, that he knew Rocky. And so like seeing Dylan O'Brien playing this character, like playing both Roman and Rocky, like I loved it because Dylan O'Brien is so talented. And so like the way that he played Rocky is like he was so different, like the personality was completely different. And so like like Tiffany said, I do believe that Dennis was feeling that. And it was, what was interesting about it is that Dennis was grieving Rocky too. Like he was
Hmm.
grieving Rocky in his own way. And so by him seeing Roman and spending time with Roman and like going to this twin support group and acting like he had a twin himself, like that was basically like the only way that he felt like he could
Connect to
connect. Yeah,
Rocky. Yeah,
because it was like
because
he couldn't do it without being it was like he felt like he couldn't do it without being a twin, because if he just went to approach somebody without being a twin, then it's like, well, what do we have in common? Because like that's kind of a common thing with twins. Like they're like, because we always say like there's the relationship, like twins have a really different relationship that's very
it's unique.
complex. Yeah. And so like when people come in that are singletons, like then they feel kind of like, how do I get in there? Like how do I get into that with with these twins? Like how do I become their friend? And so he
Hmm.
felt like instead of just being himself, like he had to lie and say like, oh, I'm a twin too. Like, and that's how I get my foot in the door, because then I can say we have something that we relate to.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because when you're watching the relationship that Roman and Dennis are building together as friends, it starts off by Rocky is the first person to rely on Dennis. Like Dennis approaches him at the group, but Rocky's the first person to initiate actually hanging out, because he's,
Roman.
I mean, sorry,
You're mixing
Roman.
up the twins.
Sorry, see, look at me mixing up the twins. So, yeah, sorry. So, Roman is trying to fill a void that Rocky left behind by asking Dennis to hang out with him, because he just feels like, okay, like you lost your twin too, so you understand what I'm going through, because
Hmm.
he can't connect with his mom, who's played by Lauren Graham, who does an amazing job, by the way. And they're like, the two of them are just bumping heads because they're both grieving the loss. Like she's grieving the loss of a son, and he's grieving the loss of a brother. But the way that she doesn't understand his grief, because his grief is different. Like the loss of a twin it's a unique experience and it's different than a mother and a son type of thing. So she won't really she doesn't really understand it coming from Roman's perspective. So anyway, Roman is the one who initiates the relationship, and they start hanging out, doing all the things like grocery shopping together, just doing a lot of different things together. And then eventually, as he starts to kind of seem like he's healing, he gets involved with Eileen Franciosi's character, Marcie, and they start to become close, and it's like that feeling that he had with Dennis kind of starts to drop off because he has Marcie in his life now. So it's like Dennis gets pushed aside, and then as the further Dennis gets pushed aside because of the relationship that Roman has with Marcie, he starts to get jealous, and then he starts to spiral. And then as you're watching it, one of the things that I really liked about this movie is that as you're watching the relationships, the different relationships that Rocky has, that he has with Dennis and that he has with Marcie, you can see that he is like he, even though he's with these people and he's like happy, there's always that undercurrent of sadness. And that's what I loved. I love that James captured that in the movie, and I also love the way Dylan did it, because it's not easy. That's not an easy thing to portray. So it was just like the way they showed that no matter how he was interacting with other people and he seemed like he was happy, there was always that you could see it. You could see there was always that pall of sadness over him through everything he was doing, because there would be little moments where he seemed like he was happy and be doing all these joyful things, and then you would see his face just turn so sad, and it was like you could see him internalizing that I'm getting something out of this, but it's not fulfilling in the way that my relationship with my twin brother was. And that's what I really love, because it was like no matter what he does, nothing is going to fill that particular type of loss.
And then like yeah, like that was one of the things that I liked too, because it was just showing that like even though he had these people around him, it's like this still doesn't compare to what he had with his twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what I really liked too in the movie was just like you could see how Roman was trying to he was basically trying to make other people around him that knew his brother feel better. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to make them feel better about how they were feeling about missing Rocky.
Yep.
Because at the funeral, like that funeral, it broke my heart because like he's standing there and all these people are coming up to him. And they're like, "Oh my God, you look so much like him. You look. I can't do this." I'm like, "You can't do this."
Like
Like
to look in the mirror at myself every day. Like, oh my God, there's a scene where he looks in the mirror and it's like you can see that he's seeing his brother
he's gonna look in the mirror every day of
and
his
see his
life
brother.
and he sees his brother, but his brother is not there. And so like, him like he's hugging these people, and then like even like there's a scene where he is out and about minding his business and some girl comes up that knew Rocky and she starts like, "Hey, Rocky," and he doesn't tell her like,
Yeah,
"I'm not Rocky, I'm Roman, like
which
Rocky's dead." Like he doesn't even tell her, which is weird that she doesn't even know that Rocky's dead, but I
mhm.
guess maybe Rocky and her fell out, I don't
I mean,
know.
based on the type of person that Rocky was, like based on how Dennis had, what Dennis' experience with him was like, he was very fair weather, and like like he was one of those people that floated into your life, and it was great when he was there, and then he floated back out.
And you know what I
He
think.
not he wasn't very consistent.
And you know what's actually funny to me about that is that it actually kind of makes me think about the way that twins are in general. The way that Rocky was like, "I'm okay without people because I have a twin." Like that's how it feels because like we have friends, but we're also very okay with just being like, "It's just us hanging out, like doing stuff." And so like Rocky's like, "I got a twin brother over there, so I don't really feel the need to go and make friends with all these people. Like I
And
have
it's
friends here and there, but it's like if you guys are gone, if Lynn's like, I'm still good because I have a twin brother," and that was interesting in itself too, because like you learn about the fact that Roman and Rocky have like fallen out, and you don't know like we basically don't really know like when it was that they last saw each
mhm.
other. And it's actually really sad because there's a lot of like Roman is not just he's not just sad, he's also feeling guilt too,
Mhm.
because he doesn't feel like the last interaction that he had with Rocky was a good one, which makes it even sadder. And so like
Because he and his brother fought, because I mean he which I kind of assumed it when I was watching it, they had a falling out because the fact that Rocky told Roman that he was gay. And so basically what the issue was he when he there's a scene where he confesses, not really confesses, but like he I guess apologizes to his brother through Dennis. He uses Dennis, and Dennis tells him, "Talk to me like I'm Rocky. So he does. So he sits there and he tells him everything, everything. He basically apologizes for not for, all the things that he said, because when he told him that he was gay, he was really cruel to him and he called him a slur. And after that, they had a falling out and he moved away. And so that's really why they stopped. But the reason why you find out is that it's not necessarily about the fact that Rocky is gay. It's basically Roman tells Dennis, and tells Rocky that the reason why he was so upset was because he was like, we're not going to be twins anymore. Like, it's like we're supposed to be exactly the same. He's like, I'm not gay, like I'm straight, and we're not. If you are gay, then that means we're not twins anymore because we're not exactly the same. And then he realizes we are the same, even though. And he's like, why couldn't I accept my brother like that? Why couldn't I talk to him about kissing boys, and he talked to me about me kissing girls? Like why couldn't I accept that? And then when he does this, and then as the scene goes on, he starts to get really upset and he cries. And the line that broke me and my sister is when he says, I don't know how to do this life without you. And I was like, done. I was like, it was so sad, especially because when you think about the way that Rocky was on, or I mean, the way that Roman was on his own, it's really sad because being a twin is like, it's like there's a codependency that
Hmm.
it's an involuntary codependency that happens because you spend your whole life with this person. So he's not used to being alone.
Hmm.
He's not comfortable being alone. So that's what that's basically what the whole, like the whole thing is, like him trying to come to terms with the fact that he's alone. Like he doesn't have his brother anymore, and it was under bad circumstances. It's like his brother died under tragic circumstances, but they had unresolved issues
Yeah, because that's the even like at the support group, that's what the people say. Like Tasha Smith, by the way, who's a twin. If you guys didn't know that,
yep
Tasha Smith,
in
she's
real life.
in real life, yeah, she's hilarious. But
Mhm.
like when she's leading the support group and she's like trying to do like the icebreaker jokes and stuff, and she's like, "Who's older? I am now that she's dead." Like I was like, "Oh my God," because it's like you don't think about that kind of stuff because she's
Mhm.
older than me by 11 minutes. So it's like you don't think about that whole thing of like if one of us goes, then the other one becomes the oldest, and immediately if that's the way it goes, Lord forbid.
Mhm.
But and so like listening to like some of the people in the support group, like one of the girls, I forgot, I don't remember if they said her name or not, but she talked about that exact thing about like going through life and then having those moments where it was like she just realizes I'm alone. Like I'm alone. Because with us, like we do so many things together, like we hang out together a lot. So it's like,
We see
or
movies together about twins.
and so it's like if she's not around, then I'm like, oh, I wish that Tiffany was here with me so we could go do X, Y, and Z. And then you're like watching this movie with these people who are twins and they lost their twins and now they're like, what's my identity without my twin? Like
Mhm.
that's what it becomes. And that's basically what Roman is doing the entire time. Like the entire movie, Roman is basically trying to figure out who am I without my twin? Like
Mhm.
he's basically like all my life it's been me and my brother and that's how it's been. And he feels like he's been the one that's been like the slacker of the two. Like he's
Mhm.
basically been like Rocky's always been the good one. He's always had his stuff together,
Mhm.
whereas I've always been a mess. Like I'm living in the basement. I just play video games all day and I don't do anything. Like that's basically what he was doing. And so like whereas Rocky is like, oh, Rocky's cultured and
He's a
he
jet
speaks
setter.
Japanese and everybody loves him.
He speaks proper English.
He's a social butterfly
Mhm.
and blah blah blah. And it was crazy is that when Dennis and Rocky have their moment when they have their moment in bed together, like he talks about like not being in contact with Roman and how they haven't
Mhm.
spoken in a while. And Dennis tries to encourage him, like, hey, well, why don't you talk to your brother? And he's like telling him stories about them growing up as kids. And he tells Dennis that Roman is the good one. Like he
Mhm.
tells him he's the good twin. And so it's just crazy that like how because we have like moments where we see each other in different ways than the other one sees the other one. And so like hearing like Rocky say Roman's the good one
Mhm.
and Roman the whole time is thinking I'm the worst.
I'm the
Like
bad one. I'm the one that's always messing up. I suck. And it's like my brother's great. And it's like I'm just the extra one that just hangs around and does nothing. But then he finds out like and the thing is like obviously because this is another spoiler as you're watching the movie when it gets to the climactic scene where eventually Dennis has to reveal that hey I don't have a twin and also
I'm responsible
also
for your brother.
big spoiler big spoiler if you guys don't want to watch if you guys don't want to hear this big spoiler you can feel free to turn this video off but I'm telling you right now I'm going to tell you the big spoiler so you find out big spoiler coming in what is it? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so big square. Dennis is actually the reason why Rocky's dead,
Hmm.
but not because he hit him. But you in the beginning of the movie, you'll hear like you hear an impact of a car crashing, and then you know that oh yeah, Roman or Rocky's dead. He got hit by a
And they're
car.
kind of like the Easter eggs that it's like where you
Hmm.
can kind of figure it out already. Because we
Hmm.
like I knew from the very beginning, like even when I was looking at the Twinless
We were
website,
speculating
I
the
was
whole movie.
speculating Dennis is not a twin. I'm like,
Yeah,
something's weird, like
yeah.
this is weird, like
We were
Dennis is not a
speculating the
twin.
entire time. Like we were whispering to each other. I bet I bet Dennis is the one who killed Rock. And he was, I mean, he didn't kill him, but like inadvertently
Inadvertently.
because they got into a fight in the middle of the street and Rocky got hit by a car.
He didn't look
Yeah,
before
he
he
didn't. Yeah,
crossed.
yeah. So Dennis eventually reveals that to Roman, and it's bad. The reveal, the results of that confession are bad.
He deserved it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know if I would handle that situation differently. And I think I would have kind of reacted the same way. Like if you were responsible for my sibling dying, I think I probably felt kind of the same way that Roman did.
Yeah.
I mean, he already he Dennis was already born in the grocery store.
He
He
said
was already warned what was going to happen.
if he could get a hold of the guy that killed his brother, there's the reason why his brother is dead. He said what he was going to do, and he did something as an offshoot of that. It wasn't quite as graphic as what he said he would do, but he did do some damage to Dennis, which was I mean Dennis wasn't really that great of a person to be honest.
No, he wasn't.
Dennis was a liar. Dennis was it was like the talented Mr. Ripley. Like it was literally like give us talented Mr. Ripley vibes because Dennis was like he lied so much that
About everything
we were
in
like,
his
who
life.
are you? Like, why do you keep lying? Like, why do you keep lying about everything? But yeah, so that was how everything came to a head.
Because he was
And
obsessed with twins, like which we don't know why. We really don't
mhm.
know why. Like he just said
But
he
yeah,
was.
they don't really
He just said he was obsessed with twins, and
they
like
don't really tell you why what his backstory is as
which I
to
would have
why.
loved. I would have loved to
Mhm.
have known why he was
Like
obsessed with twins.
I
Like
think it would have been a cool detail if like if he found out like if it was in his history that he really was supposed to be a twin
I
and
think
and
that
his
like that
and
probably
his
would have been cliche or something to be
maybe
like, oh, a former twin
they
is
probably
obsessed with twins.
they probably flow with the idea,
But
right?
I do wonder why. I do wonder what was, what was the inspiration behind the storyline. I have to look into that because, like,
Yeah, I know
for James Sweeney to come up with this is like, what was
because it's interesting
the
because
thought
if
process?
you don't like yourself and you keep wanting to be somebody else then why would you want to make two of yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, that's such a good point because really, like, he's changing every single part of his life. So
Hmm.
it's like you don't think your life is that great by yourself. So, like you said, why would you want two of you
Hmm.
if you think you
Yeah.
are not good enough by yourself?
Hmm.
Like,
But yeah, so after they, after the confrontation, then Rocky or Roman, I keep doing that. Damn it, twins. But anyway, Roman and didn't stop speaking, and then they go on with their lives, and Roman is processing his life without anybody, without Dennis. It's just him and Marcie, his girlfriend. So eventually they meet up again and they hash out things and talk about the situation. And when he does, I was so glad because we were watching it and we were so thankful that when Dennis and Roman met, that Dennis told him what Rocky had said about him being the good twin. And you could see the way everything changed for Roman. He just was like you could see the weight of grief like it's always going to be there but you could see that the weight of the guilt that he had from the falling out that he had with his brother
mhm,
that he basically was like after all that I did after the horrible way that I treated him he still thinks I'm good
mhm.
or he still thought I was good and that's enough for me like it's like it will always hurt that I lost my twin but at least I know that he thought I was good.
Yeah, because like twins fight all the time. But the thing is, like, we can't stay mad at each other. And
Hmm.
so, like, Roman and Rocky may have had a falling out, but it was like Rocky still missed his brother. And
Hmm.
it was sad. Like, I really wish that they had gotten to talk to each other. Like, it made
Yeah.
me sad that they didn't. But, like, what did you think about the ending of the movie? Like, because when we watched it, like, I sat there and, like, I processed, like, the whole thing with Dennis telling Roman that Rocky thought he was the good one, which was great.
Hmm.
But I found myself wondering, like, where do Dennis and can Roman go from here?
Hmm.
Because it was obvious that Dennis like was feel that Dennis that it was obvious that Roman missed Dennis. He
Hmm.
missed that friendship, like whether it was based on a lie. Because I mean, it was
It was
sad though.
like
Because
catfish.
it was sad though.
I was like, where do we go from here?
But it was sad though because Roman even asked Dennis, like he even asked him,
Do you
"Do
think
you
we would
think
have
we would
been
have been friends?
friends
Like
if we hadn't met
if
the
we
way we
hadn't
do?"
met in the group,
And he
like
said,
the
I don't
game
know.
room, would we have been friends?" And Dennis didn't really think so, which
Hmm.
sad to say, I don't think they would have been
Me
because they're
neither.
two different people. Like they're very
Hmm.
very different. Dennis is like stage five clinger, like run away.
Oh,
He's
see, I
kind
just
of
had another
it,
epiphany about that because I didn't even think about that because now that also makes sense why he became friends with Dennis, knowing outright that Dennis was a gay male because it was like he was also trying to atone for mistreating
yeah.
his brother for being gay.
Yeah,
And
and that's why he beat up the Gen Zers. I thought Gen Z was supposed to be nice. That was hilarious. But yeah, no, like because when I watched the ending of the movie, I like you could tell that like Roman was still like cool to the idea of Dennis because he was like I can't stay long.
Mhm.
But then they were kind of sort of seeming to like weave a friendship of sorts in
Mhm.
their own way. So it's
The
like
ending leaves it open,
yeah, like they
like they
could
could be
try to be friends.
friends.
Like they could try to like it's never gonna be the same again because he knows that he now knows the truth.
Mhm.
But at the same time, Roman is still looking for some kind of connection.
I feel
And Dennis is the closest connection he has to
to
his brother
Rocky.
because
Mhm.
he was around Rocky, like however short it was, but he was there.
He can kind of hold on to him in that
Mhm.
way. I
Yeah.
feel like also the way that they had the ending where the waitress goes over and asks them about the like when she asks if they need anything and then they say, "Can we get a box to go?" Like they say it together. And I feel like that was also kind of like in a way James's way of saying, yeah, they're gonna be friends. Because it ended with them saying that at the same time, like, can
Mhm.
we get a box? Like it wasn't like like to me, like it didn't indicate a separation.
Mhm.
It felt like they were saying like James was saying like they're gonna be friends.
Yeah.
Like and it's funny because like I didn't know how to feel about that, but I do know that if that in the world of fiction, if they do stay friends, Dennis needs to stop lying.
Mhm.
Stop lying, Dennis.
Why you always lying?
But yeah, so the movie was great.
Yeah, it was.
I was very impressed with the way that the twin bond was portrayed. And like I said, the thing that I loved the most was the fact that they kept the element of the sadness throughout the entire film. Like it wasn't like they tried to gloss over it and make it like, oh, everything's great because he's got Dennis as his friend and he's got
Mhm.
his girlfriend Marcie. It was like, no, he will always be sad. It doesn't matter what happens, he will always be sad. And that's what I like is in how James and Dylan and like how they portrayed it, that he will always be sad.
Yeah, I thought the movie was really great too, and I wasn't surprised that it was going to be good, especially that Dylan O'Brien was,
If
Dylan
you see
O'Brien
Dylan
is,
O'Brien's name on anything, you know it's gonna
yeah,
be
yeah,
good.
you already know, you already know,
It's just
like,
full stop.
but yeah, just fantastic. Like he just gave a fantastic performance
And
from
you know, he said
start.
he did an interview. I forget which news outlet it was, and he actually said that that scene where he did the confession, he did that in one take.
Wow.
Mhm. One take. One take.
I just wonder where he went because like the sob that came out of him,
Hmm.
I felt that in my soul when he said, "I
Hmm.
don't know how to be here without you,"
Hmm.
because that is like a visceral experience. Like we've lost a sibling, before like one of our brothers passed away like in 2002, but it's like, obviously like the twin relationship is a totally different bond because like I said, you're basically always together and you have a living best friend. Like you got a best friend right there. It's like you call him up and ask him a question, get some advice, or say, "Hey, you want to go grab food? Want to go grab coffee? Want to go do this?" Like like
And you
him
know you always have a bestie that's
exactly.
available.
So yeah, just a fantastic movie. Like
Yeah,
seriously, highly recommend going to go see it. Like
very much so.
when it's like
And
it's
if you can't
one
get
of
out
my
to
favorites
see
of
it,
2025.
if you can't get out to see it, then at least you find it on a streamer, a
Yeah.
legal streamer. Legal streamer, guys, because those actors need that money too. Okay.
Oh, and shout out to the Sims reference too,
Oh my
because
God,
when he
yes.
was like, me and my brother were
Yeah, we used to play The Sims, and like like he said in the movie, like Roman said, The Sims is not an easy
no,
game.
it's not.
People die and stuff in that movie, and are in that game. It's actually not fun when you think about it. Like it's actually like you're just doing real life. Like it's not fun. I
It's
mean,
like having a Tamagotchi, but worse.
Yeah,
We're dating ourselves here.
yeah, we are. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, like we said, Twinless is a great film. So
Mm,
if you guys get the chance to see it, head
go
out to the
see it.
theaters. I'm not sure if it's playing at any major theaters, but because we found it at the local indie cinema, look at me, cinema, the indie theater that's in our area. So if you can find it, watch it. And if you can't find it in the theater, like I said, legal streaming, okay?
And that's our review for Twinless. So if you guys like this, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And we hope to see you on the next one. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, we appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye, guys.